Hi, my name is Gloria. Today we are discussing the topic reproductive behavior. Reproductive behavior. Objectives of lesson. During the course of the lesson, the student should be able to 1. Define reproductive behavior. 2. State the meaning of courtship behavior. 3. List the types of courtship behavior. 4. Define and give at least 2 examples of each type of courtship behavior. And 5. Highlight the meaning of breeding season. What is reproductive behavior? Reproductive behavior can be defined as the behavioral patterns that ensure that reproduction takes place in organisms. These are behaviors that are carried out by organisms to ensure that they reproduce their young one of their own kind. Reproductive behavior ensures that the gametes come together for the process of fertilization among organisms of the same kind or species. Reproductive behavior can be direct as observed in animals or indirect as seen in plants. It involves the understanding of breeding season and courtship behavior. So what do we mean by breeding season and courtship behavior? Now, breeding season. Breeding season is a specific period when mating and reproduction takes place among organisms of a population. This is the time when organisms are likely to breed their young one and ensure that they survive better. During breeding season, sexually matured organisms start to release mature sex gametes such as sperm cells in male, ovum or egg cells in female. This is exhibited in most vertebrates and it ensures that the young are produced during favorable condition or at a favorable climatic condition, such as availability of food, availability of water, right temperature, pressure, light, and other conditions that will help them to survive better. So at this period, fertilization is high and the offsprings have higher survival rates. So they survive better at this period. So let's look at the meaning of courtship behavior. Courtship is a reproductive behavior or communication which ensures that mating takes place between the male and the female organisms of the same kind. So we can say that before mating can take place, courtship must occur. Now the female are more selective than male when choosing the mate to mate with. Thus, they decide the male they want to mate with. So they actually look for certain criteria that we ensure that their young ones are healthy and strong. So to attract the females, the males engage in certain behaviors which are called courtship behaviors in order to get the attention of the female. So from this image we can say courtship leads to mating. Mating leads to fertilization and fertilization leads to, production of new offsprings or individual. Now, courtship is an instinctive behavior. That means every organism is born with it. And so it is unique to a given species. So every species, they all have their own unique courtship behavior. So for courtship to be successful in organisms, it must lead to mating. So if mating does not occur, that means the courtship isn't successful. So let's look at the types or forms of courtship behavior. There are 4 forms of courtship behavior we are going to be discussing, and they are 1. Pairing, 2. Display, 3. Territoriality, 4. Seasonal migration. What do we mean by pairing? This is a situation whereby a male and a female animal set themselves apart from others in a group so as to form mating pair. The 2 pairing partners must be compatible in order for mating to take place. So we have the male and the female set aside in order to mate. Now pairing may be for a short time, as we can see in birds, where after fertilization has taken place, mating has taken place, they separate and go their own ways. Or it can be for a lifetime, as seen in birds and other animals, whereby they will stay together for life. Now, examples of animals that exhibit pairing, we can have toads. So pairing occurs in toad. Now the male goes to the river and make kind of cracking noise in order to get the attention of the female. So it pairs with any female that is willing to accept the male. And so it mounts it back for mating to take place. So during this mounting process, there is what is called nuptial pads at the palm of the male toe, which they use to attach themselves firmly to the female, so that as the female carry them about for like 2 to 3 days, they don't fall off. Okay, and so during this process, they release their eggs in shallow water while the male pour the sperm cell on them, and fertilization takes place. It can also occur in man or humans. So we have a man and a woman pairing up together to form husband and wife, so that they can mate and raise their own family. So another, we can have pairing in birds. Now during breeding season, the birds can pair up briefly or for a lifetime in order to mate and reproduce. They can share some tasks such as splitting the building of nests for the young, incubating their eggs, feeding and protecting their young chicks. Pairing can also be seen in winged termites. The male and the female winged termites pair up and fly away from others in their group. So at this time they will lose their wings and form a new colony. So the male will form the king, the female will form the queen of the colony. So mating will occur and fertilized egg will be laid, and when they hatch, okay, their offsprings are formed, and so they form the different castes of the colony. So we have the workers, the soldiers, the reproductive termites, king and queen. Pairing can also occur in fish. The male and the female fish pair up as partners and swim to a safe place. Now, the male stimulates the female to lay eggs outside, while the male releases sperm cells on the eggs. And this kind of fertilization that will take place is called external fertilization. It also occurs in toad. Now let's look at the second type of courtship, display. Display is a complex courtship behavior that involves series of fixed patterns of movements in order to showcase attractive features between mating partners. Most of the time, the male showcases the attractive features to get the attention of the female. Now, display involves exhibition of attractive features by the male to the female partners. So they want to get them, so they show all their colorful parts, colorful displays, just to get the female. Now, the partners must respond to each other's display correctly, else they will be said to be incompatible. If the male is displaying and the female is not getting it, that means they are not compatible. So mating cannot take place. Now, wide range of signals like touch, smell, chemical secretion, sound, visual display, electrical discharge are used for display in organisms. Now, examples of display include dancing. You can see fowl dance in a circular way in order to get the female, the hen, in order for them to mate. Humans too can dance to attract one another. Singing, this is common among the birds. The birds sing beautifully. The male bird sing beautifully to attract the female bird. Now, it can also involve production of odor by the female to attract the male. This you can see in the goat. When the female, the she-goat is on heat, it secretes certain secretion from its reproductive parts, which can attract the male or signal to the male that it is ready for mating. We can also see this in the cracking sound made in toads, nest making in birds, visual display in bird, lizards, and even human. Now, a very common visual display in bird is the one displayed by the peacock, whereby they showcase the beautiful plume or feather in order to attract the peahen. So this you will see in the image here: production of odor in goat, dancing in man, display of beautiful features in the male to attract the female. So let's look at this, and that is territoriality. Territoriality is a behavior whereby animals mark out an area known as territory for themselves, whereby they can live, breed, and defend it against intruder. So they mark out a particular space, and that space is their territory. No other animal that is not welcomed is allowed to come in. Okay, territoriality is common in invertebrates except for the amphibians. So it is common in fish, It's common in the reptiles like lizards. It's common in birds and mammals. Now, the male initiates an area for breeding. So, in certain birds, such as the nesting birds, okay, the territory may simply consist of the nest itself, and so they protect the nest from any intruder. Territories are marked by the use of body scents, such as urine. Dogs, wolves, they use their urine to mark the area for themselves. Some use feces, others patrol an area to make sure that no intruder comes in. This is common in animals like tiger, lions, cheetah, and so on. Okay, let's look at this point. Intruders are scared away by threat display. Any intruder that comes around, the alpha male in that territory try to scare the intruder away by threat display, just certain display that will make the intruder to run away. But if the intruder refuses to run away, a fight will occur. And now, at the end of the fighting, the winner takes over the territory and the loser is allowed to run away. However, if any willing female comes around to the territory, if it doesn't fight the male will welcome the female into the territory, and so life continues. Here we have an image showing fighting among two organisms, probably fighting for a territory. The importance of territoriality. Territorial behavior prevents competition for food and mates among organisms. It can also prevent overcrowding by maintaining distance among members of a population. Territoriality provides nest and protection for young ones until they are when unable to take care of themselves. Now, lastly, we want to look at seasonal migration. Seasonal migration is a two-way seasonal movement of certain animals for the purpose of breeding. They live in point A and they decide to move to point B to breed. Now, after breeding, the young ones come back to point A in order to feed and grow. So it's a two-way movement. Migration mostly is associated with breeding, feeding, escaping predators, and escaping unfavorable climatic conditions. It occurs in animals such as salmon fish, birds, mammals, termites, eels, and so on. Now let's look at the images here. The first one is showing migration of white-stop birds to breeding area. The second is showing salmons migrating from the Atlantic Ocean to the North American stream in order to breed. And when the young ones are produced, they can go back to the Atlantic Ocean in order to feed and grow, and the process repeats itself. Now let's look at this, pollination in plants. Pollination is the transfer of mature pollen grains from the anther of a flower to the stigma of the same or different flower. It simply means the movement of pollen grains from the male part of a flower to the stigma, which is the female part of a flower, okay, in order for fertilization to take place. Pollination is a form of indirect reproductive behavior in plants. It is said to be indirect because it requires external agents such as pollinators like insects, water, and wind. Anything that can help to move pollen grains to stigmas are known as external agents or pollinators. Now, insect pollinators are attracted to flowers' brightly colored petals. So the brightly colored part of a flower is known as the petals, and that is what attracts insects in order for pollination to take place. Pollination in plants ensure that the male and the female gametes in the plant come together for the purpose of fertilization. Pollination, we have two types. We have self-pollination and cross-pollination. So let's look at the importance of courtship behavior. Number one, courtship helps organisms to identify members of their own species that are ready for mating. Number two, courtship helps to stimulate organisms for the release of their gametes. 3. Courtship enables organisms to find healthy mating partners so as to produce healthy young ones. Courtship prepares male and female organisms for mating. And lastly but not the least, courtship ensures that fertilization and reproduction occur in organisms. Wow, what a wonderful and interesting topic. So at this point, we've come to the end of the class. These are student activities. You have 10 questions for you to attempt. If you don't or you're not able to answer any, please go back to the video, watch it again, listen to it, and I believe you'll be able to get your biro, your pencil, and get to work. Wow, this is the answer to the students' activity. It's time for you to mark yourself. Okay, our goal is 100%. So I want to say thank you for being in this class. Thanks for learning.